think so.
I always get so excited when I see the kids out here because each child is so different and so unique. And there are so many who have so many issues, autistic kids. We had an Asperger's child come out, and she just relaxed and made some connections with her peers. And you see that, and it just reinforces that we have to get our kids back outside.
It's sunrise in southern Montana, and the 7th and 8th graders from Harrison School are just arriving at the Hollowtop Outdoor Primitive School. They bring with them nothing but simple provisions, clothing, and expectations. For the next 3 days, they'll be hiking, exploring, and learning about the natural world, each other, and themselves. Their teacher and guide during this experience is Thomas Elpel.
We have a whole generation of kids that has a completely mental existence. They have their academic life at school, they go home, they watch movies, they play video games, they have the internet, or if they do something outside, perhaps they do sports. And that's good, but they don't really get beyond the lawn grass to see what else is out there. I think that for older generations like ourselves, we didn't have the electronic media distractions that kids do now. And so we grew up playing in the woods or playing in the vacant lots around us. And that's important, because when you go out and you're building forts out of sticks or out of scrap lumber, you develop a sense of the real-world engineering that goes into how things fit together, what works and what doesn't work. For kids that are growing up without that have a completely mental existence, are really missing something. And it's kind of like having a brain in a box on a shelf. I mean, what good is it if you can't connect it to the real world and do something with it?
Basically, like Toby, we're going to learn about different kinds of plants and how to build a fire.
I heard there's a lot of fire starting in like flint and steel or the bow and drill.
We're going to stalk some wildlife.
We're going to learn about different kind of flowers.
We search for our own food. We do just about everything they did a long time ago.
These kids will be out here for 3 days and 2 nights, and in that time frame we're going to immerse them as deeply as we can into the wilderness skills. And so they'll learn how to start fires by rubbing sticks together. They'll be sleeping in shelters that are built out of sticks and bark, and learning primitive cooking methods, learning outside, doing these hands-on tactile things. First of all, it kind of bypasses the sort of academic channels and just goes right into the body. It's kind of learning at a little bit deeper level. And the other thing is that the kids enjoy it. They they don't get excited about sitting there staring at a book trying to understand the world, but when you give them a chance, unleash them on the real world, that they get a chance to do things with their hands and find out how things work, they really get excited about learning. I want you guys to look around and tell me everything you see. Trees?
Grass.
Okay, so we see trees, sticks, dirt, dandelions, bark, grass, sky.
People in general.
Okay? I want you to look around again, but first, imagine this. Imagine you're standing out here completely buck naked. And look around you at these sticks and trees and bark and grass. And this is all you have. Because that's all our ancestors had for 95% of human history. They were out here and all they had was what they could find out here. And everything they made with sticks and rocks and trees and bark and hide and feathers. I got some good news. The good news is you're going to keep your clothes on for this class. Okay? And I got some more good news. 2 8th grade girls get to volunteer for tonight to do real survival. That we're going to leave the sleeping bags behind. to go out into the woods. We'll have 2 8th grade girls tonight, and then tomorrow night, if the girls survive, the boys will get to try it out tomorrow night.
Please, Tom.
I like Tom. He seems to know an incredible amount about what he's doing, and he knows how to impart it to the kids, and that's quite a gift.
During this outdoor classroom experience, participants are led and encouraged to explore more direct and physical interaction with the natural world. They are also exposed to life in a tribal situation, where each group member both benefits by and feels a responsibility for other group members. But beyond all this, the experience is intended to expose participants to the notion of learning as a way of life, where knowledge comes not only from books, but from the very act of participating in nature.
First of all, when we're looking around out here to see what we have to work with, and we mentioned some things like sticks and bark and grass, the various resources that are available, there's one other thing that we didn't mention that's out here, and that's teachers. There's lots and lots of teachers out here besides Mrs. Ehlers and myself and Chris. And some of the things that we'll be doing, like when we're doing stalking, we'll learn how to walk quietly from the fox. We can learn how to hear from the deer. And we can also learn how to stay warm from the mice. And while we were pulling grass out there, I found a couple of these little mouse nests. And that's exactly what we're doing, is we're building a mouse nest for 3 big mice.
The 8th grade girls are gonna stay out there tonight without sleeping bags and everything else.
Fire
or a fire.
Survival technique.
We found kind of a burrow by a tree, and we stacked up a bunch of bark and
sticks, and a lot of layers.
They're like shingles. They help the water run off if it rains.
everything to make a shelter.
I think any kid that comes out here really enjoys it, and the biggest difference between outdoor education and indoor education is that when you go outside, you get to go out and touch everything, and you get to learn it not with your mind, but with your hands, with your feet, but with your body.
If you were doing solo,
You'd want a smaller.
you'd want a smaller mouse
Not
nest.
a huge thing for one person.
We had a 7th grader and he was out hunting. It was winter time and snow on the ground. He got separated from his dad. And it ended up that he was out all day, overnight, and through the next day. And then in the spring, then we brought them out on this trip. And afterwards he said, "Man, I wish I would have known the stuff that I know now. It would have made it so much easier." Just, you know, it really made an impact on that child.
With the completion of the shelter, the 3 students selected to make use of it are eager to give it a try. But the day is still young yet, and there are many other skills to be learned. But before any of this, the work on the shelter has made everyone in the group ready for some lunch.
I love this style of teaching. I think it's great. There's nothing like getting out in the outdoors and finding out where we came from, where we live, how we survived. It's good because you don't always have electricity. You don't always have all of the things that these kids have grown up with.
Check out my plate.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, I know.
He broke this one off for me too.
What makes that a good plate?
It's already
nice
clean.
and smooth, and
it's
pretty
smooth.
clean.
Yep.
And it's pretty good size too.
No, the nearly perfect plate.
Okay, watch out.
It's flat. It's doesn't have any holes in it. It's thick enough to withstand some stuff, and it's just all around good.
No, these are too small. You find
This is food.
Yeah!
Yeah, guys.
Okay, what I want you to do is to find some green ones, like this. Follow them down with your hands. Get underneath those horizontal rhizomes and go as far as you can. So you get the vertical and the vertical stalks and the horizontal rhizomes. Let's have everybody gather 2 or 3.
What is that? That one right there. That's Becca.
Mine's a little bigger.
This one's yours? Right here?
Yeah, that one is. I think I found
Can't wait to eat it.
So when you get it down like this, we're going to cut this up into little pieces. Let me actually trim off these little root nodes around the side there. So when you cut it, and it'll be real tender for a little ways until you get to a point where it's not so tender. Then take and peel down another layer, and you get to more tender stuff. And you can cut this. And actually, the first one that you do, go ahead and sample that and see what it tastes like.
Do it.
Tastes like I love it.
Here's one. You want to
This one is called yarrow. The Latin is Achilles mylifoilum, and Achilles is warrior. This is one of the medicines they used on the battlefield. It was a real good one to stop the bleeding. It's sort of an astringent plant. It's also so it's an astringent which helps to kind of stop the bleeding, and it's aromatic, which also has some good medicinal properties. My grandmother made a tea of this whenever I was sick, and I'd have a little yarrow tea with honey in it, and that was helpful. Taste some. It's pretty strong, but go ahead and taste a little bit, and then we'll gather some to make a pot of tea. Yeah, you guys want to keep your eyes out for these, what we call tree mushrooms or oyster mushrooms, and also morel mushrooms. And this is real spring treat here.
So first we're collecting dandelion leaves, and then we're collecting thistle leaves. These are thistle leaves. They have little pokey kind of thorns all over them. And these are dandelion leaves. You tell those because if you find a dandelion, normally they grow around it.
Let's see. I don't know if it is more tender. Tougher or more tender?
A little softer.
Okay. Taste-wise.
Well, it's a lot easier to chew. The needles aren't so long.
Right. Is it bitter? Is it
yeah, it's
more
a little
bitter
more bitter
than the bigger one? I wondered about that.
You stepped on it.
Okay.
When this program was first launched, instructors would teach students about the plants, let them taste them, and gather salad greens to bring back to camp. But then, the greens would be set aside and forgotten about, while the students ate sandwiches for lunch. Today, the group brings croutons and salad dressing in order to create and eat a salad right on the walk, in a continuing effort to create a completely immersive experience.
How do you get it on your shoulder? How did you pull that off? I'm hungry. Oh my god. What do you do there?
She's getting some.
Next to each other?
It's hands-on. They're actually doing the stuff. They're actually seeing the plants. They're looking for the plants. They're identifying the plants out in the natural world versus seeing the plant on the page of a book that's already identified for them.
My mouth.
I don't think it's any great secret as to what we're working on here, right? You guys, okay. I'm do a bow and drill fire, and I'm actually more interested in showing you knife techniques than fire techniques. So this is primarily a knife demonstration. You guys, you watched the knife video, right?
Yep.
Great. Let's just pass the knife around. You notice I'm gonna hand the handle first, and it's very important here. You notice I'm holding the back. You don't want to give it to somebody like this and have them pull it out, and unless you're gonna do Blood Brothers or something. Make sure you get the back of the blade. So I'm gonna pass this over to Tyler, and when you have a hold of it, say "got it" or "thank you" or something.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. Very good, everybody. Let's have some good knife safety while you're out here. It makes everything so much more difficult if, you know, when you start getting cuts on your hands, or if you're missing fingers or toes or hemorrhaging out your leg, it really makes everything else a lot more difficult. So let's have some good knife safety from everybody. First thing I'm going to show you is if you can kind of sight down this piece. You'll see it's got a little bit of a curve there. So what I want to do, I want to straighten this out a little bit. One thing that works really well, you know, you're sort of used to thinking about, okay, I'm going to cut away from myself, and you start, you know, doing this and kind of moving all over. What I find works really well is to hold the knife still, set up sort of almost like a planing tool here on your leg, and pull the wood through like that.
For this is what it's gonna spin to create the friction. So this side needs to be a little thicker for the handhold, but then this one needs to be smaller to go in the little hole that has the notch in it to create more friction. So that's what I'm doing right now. I just have to make it smaller.
Right now I finished splitting the wood until it was flat enough to use it for the fireboard, and now I'm cutting a indent in the wood, and then I'm gonna start to cut the triangle indent for the ashes to collect in.
I'm making notches for the string to be held, and then each person will hold an end, or one person, and they'll spin the drill that she was working on, and then as we spin it on the board that he was working on, it'll build the ash and produce the friction for the ember to be started.
It was off center.
Yeah, it was a little bit off center, so we straightened that up some. So now let's just make a point on this side.
The shorter one.
Shorter one. Okay.
This too loose. And it's too loose. This the rope's.
Who's gonna stomp it out?
I will. No, I have holes on mine. Never mind.
Don't lose what you have here. Figure out what adjustments you need to make, because, you know, it started going into this wobble thing.
Well, because I was getting weak.
Okay.
A lot of times the kids that don't really find their niche or shine in the classroom shine out here. Everybody has their talents, and you just have to give them the opportunity to use them and develop them. So much more opportunity for hands-on learning, where they get right out here and they get immersed in the subject matter instead of just seeing it on the printed page. But it's hands-on, they're actually doing the stuff. They're far more active, far healthier. It engages their body and their mind. It's just educating the whole child instead of just one part of them.
Good, good, and walk over towards Tori. Yep.
They got it.
Okay, get your sticks around there. Okay. Good, and get your sticks. Build your teepee right on it.
I just thought that the fire making was easier than I thought it would be. I was really nervous about it before, but now I'm like, I can do 20 of them and not worry. But
yeah, everything's been pretty easy to pick up on. The bow and drill was kind of hard to get used to at first, but that just kind of came to everybody naturally, it looks like. So it was pretty exciting, really, because you knew you could make fire with just sticks and a rope. So it was pretty cool, really.
Just adjusting to this whole outdoor lifestyle, this whole thing of being out here in the woods, of being in a community, of having to do whatever it is everybody else is doing all at the same time. It's not like they're at school where they're in one class, they go to the next class, they go home, they do their own thing.
It's now time for the main meal of the day, and the plan is to combine provisions that were carried in, which include noodles, spices, and chicken, with found foods. Cattails, mustard greens, and thistle are added and mixed in found containers, in this case, a hollowed-out log. Cooking will be accomplished with a simple, yet age-old technique using scalding hot rocks.
Listen up. I've got a hot rock with the tongs. I'm going to put it here so we can knock off any ashes.
oh, bastard.
Okay.
Oh,
aerodynamical.
Go ahead and bury it in the food there.
Sizzle, sizzle. Watch out. I want to try it. Need sun on it. And with I like sizzling the chicken on it.
A spoon, a handle, and then it comes in, and then it goes to my spoon, and then it's deep so that I can get stuff in it and hold it and then eat it.
Oh, well, let's do it.
Okay, important thing here, guys, is when you're serving up, we don't want it to end on the ground. So
That's so precious.
you can either bring your dish in like this. With some of these dishes, you might have to bring it on the side here and scrape it in, but go slow and careful so that you don't get it onto the ground.
This is weird.
Oh, my!
How much are we allowed to have?
Nice fork, Levi.
I don't want to be a pig.
I can't even use chopsticks. It's good.
As evening approaches, the students begin to draw in, closer to the warmth of the camp's fire. They sense the accomplishment that the fire itself is one they created from the basic skills learned that day. But for 3 of the 8th grade girls, a greater challenge is looming.
Oh, this is gonna be freaky. What? That makes me happy all day.
There it is.
Not really.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, look.
There it is.
Hey, we can't find the supposed homeless.
Okay, I went too far off the slough. It was really right by it.
Okay. Becca, should we go me, you, Carissa, or Carissa, you, me?
I'm trying this world. What if there's spiders in there? I have a phobia of them.
You know, there's probably tons of spiders.
Don't tell me that. I
Yeah,
can
you're
go
gonna
all
stay
night
here
without
for the night.
knowing
I'm
that.
setting my water bottle right there. So it should be there in the morning.
Oh, my hole's still here.
Yeah, try to get up a layer though, because there's one comfy if there's more.
Oh, it's still. Oh my gosh.
Wait, would it work better if like we somehow got on the top and then mushed out the middle?
Just be careful about mashing it down. You want the grass around you.
Someone?
You don't really want a hole, but you know you can experiment a little.
Good night.
Hopefully we see you in the morning.
I can't even see you, Becca, or Carissa.
Okay.
This wall is like.
There you go. So yeah, it's pretty cozy right there. Morning, girls.
Oh dear God.
Toby.
Oh, oh, give me a kiss. Oh, get off of me.
Toby, come on. Toby.
Whoa, let's not fall on you. Hi, baby.
Move over.
To move over.
Yeah, because she was like isolated and was all by herself.
Freezing. So I just like cuddled in my sweater.
Fine.
A few times moving around.
I woke up a lot and would put more bedding on us all the time. And like Carissa was by herself for a while, and then I was like, ask her if she wanted to move, and she said probably. She didn't really give me an answer, but then she did. So.
Like to talk. Well, like okay, we were laying in the straw, completely like in it, to where we had to get out, and we started laying on top of it instead, because there wasn't very much room in the other way we had it. So, yeah, we just decided to get on top of all the hay.
Carissa was kind of...
I don't like to move.
Yeah, and she was like kind of numbing my leg at first, so I had to move a little bit.
Sorry.
But other than that, it was good.
The students awake along with the gradual awakening of the natural landscape. It's a cool, crisp, and calm morning, an ideal opportunity to investigate the natural morning patterns of the local wildlife.
most important parts in stalking is not just being quiet, but paying attention to what's going on around you, especially with the birds. Because the birds are kind of like sentinels of the forest. They're out there, watching everything that's going on. And one thing you'll see around here is that the deer are paying attention to what the birds are doing. So if we're walking along and we scare up a robin, and the robin, the first thing it'll do is it'll come off the ground, because it might be hopping around on the ground looking for food, and it's like, here's this mob of kids coming, and the robin says, "Whoa, what's that?" and jumps up on a tree branch, okay, and then it's going to check us out, and if it's continues to be alarmed, it'll start to kind of squawk and say, "Hey, this is kind of frightening," or it'll start to fluff up like it's getting ready to fly. And you'll see birds do this. Is that it's like, okay, should I go or should I stay? Should I go or should I stay? And then if they go, they'll squawk and send out this alarm call. So what we want to do is pay attention to what the birds are doing, because that's what the deer are paying attention to.
It seems like in the classroom we send the message to kids that learning is somehow separate from life. That first we have our learning where we crack open the books and we learn about something like history, and then we close the books and we go out for recess, or we take a break for lunch, or we finish learning at the end of the day and we go home. And out here we try to make it a totally immersive experience. Even something as mundane as sleeping becomes somewhat of an educational experience. These kids get to experience kind of a tribal living out here as they camp together with all their buddies in these shelters. And so what we're really doing here is breaking down the boundaries between life and learning. First of all, our group came back from stalking a little early. Sounds like we missed most of the action out there.
Yeah.
That's all right. I was going to demonstrate flint and steel fire starting this morning, but the 8th graders were not willing to wait for me, so they got out the bow drill and cranked out a coal.
They told me they were so excited about that.
Oh, they did a great job.
Actually missing.
This is the wrong way to jump off a tree.
I can't hold you long enough.
And he's going for the right way now. Become the owl.
The critical difference is that the other way he was quieter.
Yeah, because he was jumping like an owl.
Yeah, the first
I mentioned earlier how lots and lots of teachers out here, and so in this case what we're going to do is we're going to learn from the fox how to walk quietly. So we're going to sort of emulate the way that foxes walk. What we learn when we're in town and on sidewalks is to push off, okay, like I'm doing here. And when you push off, you kind of a little bit forward, and so you sort of always kind of pushing off and leaning a little bit forward. Does anybody see a particular hazard in that?
You could trip, fall on your face.
Yeah, it works really good if you're on flat surfaces like sidewalks, but if there's a bump, then by the time you trip, you're already off balance and over you go. So we'll practice this a little bit. So, oh, and one thing I want to add, one good way to be quiet when you're in a group like this is to use the footsteps of somebody else. Is that, you know, instead of having a whole group of footsteps, let's turn this into one footstep, okay? Because sometimes, yeah, you can make a little noise when you step down and you're kind of compressing the grass and leaves. You might make a little noise. Well, then it's compressed. So if, Kristen, if you want to just lead out here and do your fox walking. And see, I'm going to slide right in under her feet as she goes here. I enjoy teaching the survival skills, but it really doesn't matter to me whether these kids know how to survive in the woods after this or that they ever use these skills again. That's really not what this is all about. It's about getting a connection to the real world. And they're doing some things that are stretching them a little bit. They go home with greater confidence, and they know more about the world around them. And part of that that's important is that to have a sense of stewardship or ownership of the world around you, that if you can have a connection to the landscape, then you're going to care about it more. And I think that's important for the future of all of us, really, is that you know, if we're going to take care of this planet, then kids need to have a connection to it. Otherwise, it doesn't really mean anything to them.
Oh, that's a lot. Okay, we're blindfolded and we're trying to follow the string and we can't see. And my advice is to keep a hand in front of your face because they got the string around trees a lot, so you don't want to like poke your face or like hit a tree.
What happened?
Don't.
I'm gonna fall. Is there someone up there?
Yeah.
Okay. But I was like, ow, log. You went into that too?
Nope.
Oh, rock!
Where is the string
Is
going?
a dog next to me?
The students have been learning many skills thus far, but dinner time approaches yet again, and they must now learn an entirely new technique for making fire.
Oh yeah, not up, right?
Well, I had my char cloth on top of my rock to catch the spark as I'm hitting it, so then I just... Oh, there's a little one. I don't know if that one will catch.
Why don't you want to catch on fire?
Actually the flint and steel for me, I think, was easier than I thought it was gonna be. Cause I got one on fire pretty quickly.
I was kind of surprised to see what a lot of them could do with fire skills. Like, I didn't think Tyler was going to be such a good driller and be so good with knives.
I don't really know Krista that much, but I thought she was more of a girly girl, but now I like how she has another side of her, you know, the nature side, I guess, and Toby, she's shown a lot of that too.
We're making bowls for the stew tonight, I guess.
He's pretty much blowing on the ashes and he's blowing on the coals and all that to burn a hole in his block of wood for a bowl for dinner tonight.
It takes a little bit to get it started, but once you get this thing burning, if you got some coals on there, it'll go in actually remarkably quickly. You can even put like a lid of bark on here with some like mud or rocks to hold it up. Traps the heat in, and you can burn the bowl down remarkably quickly. And just use a little mud on the edges to keep that from burning down too much.
I am making a bowl out of coals and wood.
better.
Sometimes kids come out here and they're scared of the woods. They're unsure about sleeping out in a shelter. They don't know if it's safe or if they'll have a good time. But they really do, and it's an amazing confidence builder for kids to get out here and do these things. And there's nothing quite like the experience of surviving a rainstorm without a tent, or starting a fire without matches, cooking a gourmet dinner without a pan. And these are the kinds of things we do, and the kids just thrive on it, and they go home glowing, and they talk about it all year.
I think a lot of them feel more comfortable out here, and you get to see the true them.
They've never cohabited together on a 24-hour-a-day basis for 2 or 3 days. They have not lived out in the wild. They have not lived off of the land the way they are. It changes their attitude about a lot of things. I'm proud of these kids.
Yeah, people were arguing they didn't want mushrooms in it, but it's not really a big deal. They don't really taste
Can I
like
have my
anything
plate
anyway.
back?
I don't know. It was kind of funny though, because there's maggots in them, and they were freaking out about it. So they're like, "Don't put them in. I don't like it." So whatever.
How much you want to bet?
They taste fine to me.
Grab a pair of chopsticks.
Hey Levi, get your knife out and come over and help cut it.
Really, Kristen? Cutting it.
And touching it.
Okay, also need some mushroom cutters. So,
Do we need to scoot down?
It's not what I wanted to eat. Okay, this is all good stuff.
Almost
This
there.
goes
Put it in the seaweed.
That was my fault, Becca.
Let me show you something cool that you can do with the letter.
In addition to cooking stew to eat in their handmade bowls, the group works on a special treat, fresh baked bread in a stone oven.
When the kids come out here and learn these primitive skills, they're not just learning the result of things, but they're learning their origins. When you're at home and you turn on the oven and you're cooking, you don't actually know where any of the energy comes from. But when you come out here and you want to cook, you get to see how much work it takes to gather all the firewood and start the fire and cook your food. And it's not just something instant. It has a history.
Cool. Plastic water bottle.
I'll bring you this.
You drink it all.
Okay.
But he didn't make it.
Wait.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did it. Your dad did.
I took a stick and I burned the inside of it. So I just burned inside of it and smoothed the inside out of it so it'd be at least clean enough to eat and smooth enough to eat. And then now I'm going to shape it to make it easier to grip it and get stuff into it.
I'm a hillbilly.
I made it.
Okay.
Dude, it melted my skin.
yourself. It popped out right on my arm.
Hey, you lost it!
Kobe's just kind of stuck with me. Kobe.
No one's running me for that.
We're pretty much hiding. We're in hide and go seek. And I found Jake, so I guess we're hiding here. And I think there's Tony over there with a flashlight. Big cheater.
Did you get anybody?
There's somebody.
Like 4 of you guys! I hit a jackpot! 5? I only see 4!
Are you it? You're not in, are you?
No,
yeah.
Kristen's over
What?
here! You're always in!
The students wake up for their last day refreshed and quietly shift into the morning routine. But although they have come to the last day, the activities are not over yet.
We are playing a game of capture the flag, but it's got a little twist. We're using marshmallow guns. They have a longer range, so they can hit you from further away instead of having to come up and tag you, which I don't like that too much, but I can get them too, so it's pretty cool.
I'm not sure if it's the whole hands-on experience or if it's they're more comfortable or, you know, they kind of build the bond, I think. This, you know, they get to come out here with their class, a couple teachers, and I think that kind of changes their whole, you know, perspective and attitude.
Teamwork is essential out here, and yet we also stress that they can do this individually. Life skills, independence also, and direction finding, just awareness of the world. You know, I've had students that have never been camping ever, and this has been their first experience in the outdoors. That's a huge impact on their life, huge.
I wear a lot of different hats over the course of the year because I do writing and building and retail sales over the internet. And I have to say that the time we spend out here with the kids in the woods is my favorite part of the entire year. It's just so rewarding and so exciting to see how much the kids get out of it. That yes, they're really learning something and they're having a good time, and they're growing in new ways, and it's just exciting to be part of that.